Finally checked into our B&B. Oh, Sage is already making himself at home. We just got checked into our little Airbnb in Siena. So this is the bedroom that I am in currently. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new here, I'm Esperanza, a lifestyle blogger and content creator living in Phoenix with my husband, Andrew. We are newlyweds. We also have a almost two-year-old toddler, Sage Wilder, and we recently got back from our honeymoon trip to Italy, which was a 3-week trip traveling all over the country. So during our trip, we stayed at 4 Airbnbs. We also stayed at 4 boutique hotels, so I thought it would be interesting to do a video about the Airbnbs. I might also do one about the boutique hotels, but in this video, I'm basically just going to be sharing pros and cons of each of these places, and hopefully this will be kind of like helpful or at least interesting for anyone who is planning a trip to Italy. This is, I think it's called the Gold Corso. I'll try to leave a link to it. So there's 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. So we'll be staying in one room. Sage will be staying in another. I think this is the room Sage will be staying in. Another bathroom and the entryway. And we're super close to like the main heart of Florence. So very excited, and we're going to get ready for bed. It's been a long travel day. Huh, Sage? He's been such a champ though. So there is also this room back here. I didn't see it because the doors look the same. So this is the room that we'll be staying in. And then I think Sage will just be staying in here. So the first Airbnb was in Florence. We were actually in a really good location as far as being close to all of the tourist spots in Florence, but this also made it very challenging. So it was a pro, but it was also a con, because at night it was very, very loud on the streets. We could just kind of hear a lot of the bustle because it is in such a popular location basically. So that made it like a bit of a con for us. I actually studied in Florence and I had an apartment in the Santa Croce area, which was, off the beaten path. It wasn't in such a busy area. So occasionally my friend and I would hear like people yelling like on the street, but it definitely wasn't as bad as this. This was a challenge, especially with a toddler, for getting good sleep at night. The other con about this place was that we had a rental car, so the Airbnb host said that we should park our car. He gave us like the parking garage nearby to park it at, and it was $40 a night, which was very expensive. Obviously this wouldn't be an issue if you're not renting a car, but that ended up being like $120, which is basically a whole nother night like at a hotel or something. So that definitely was a huge con, because at that point we might as well have stayed at a hotel where we could, park our car maybe for free or something like that instead. It had 2 bathrooms and 2 bedrooms, and the interiors were pretty nice, but honestly it was a little bit confusing figuring out like which door went to which room. The layout was just like a little weird, and all of the doors looked the same, kind of like exterior doors. So that was something that we thought was kind of funny. So we just arrived in, is it Scala or La Scala? La Scala. So I wanted to give you guys a quick tour of our Airbnb here. So we've got the little living room area. There's the view from outside the window. That's the entrance door. Oh, Sage is already making himself at home. Here is the dining room, kitchen area. So this is actually a really, really big space. Modern kitchen. I like all the windows that we have for natural light. I went around and opened all of them. And then back over there, I already opened this one. This is the fridge. that was like just a cabinet. Yeah. There are stairs over here because there's a loft area up there. Uh-oh, he's starting to climb up the stairs. I think over here is a bathroom. There was a bathroom off of the entrance in what looked like a cabinet, but it was actually a bathroom. Okay, so here's the main bathroom. Yeah, it was like a little like powder room, but the door came like falling open on me. So I didn't want to show you guys that just in case. But here's the view from the bedroom and little bedroom area here. Crib for Sage, and maybe I'll just go up the loft really quickly. Up the stairs, and here is a little loft area with 2 beds. The ceilings in here are really cool, so it's a very, very spacious apartment. Okay, so the second Airbnb was in Scala, a little town on the Amalfi Coast. Positano and Amalfi were a little bit more expensive for Airbnbs, so that's why we ended up in Scala. And then it was like a 10 to 15 minute drive down to Atrani and Amalfi, which is right past Atrani. So this was a pretty good Airbnb, I'd say. It was definitely the most spacious Airbnb that we stayed in. The price was pretty good for how big it was. It had like beautiful views. The interiors were pretty nice, I would say. It had a good sized kitchen, so Andrew actually made a meal for us while we were there. And it also had like a loft area, which we really didn't need, but just because Sage stayed in a crib in our room. The area was pretty quiet, although we were there during like the off season in November. But a few cons I would say were that the apartment did have a washer, which we were excited about because we wanted to like wash our clothes, but it did not have any detergent, so we had to go buy detergent. There were just like a few things like that Airbnbs in the States usually have, like an ironing board, like little things like that were missing in pretty much all of these Airbnbs we noticed. So we just got checked into our little Airbnb in Siena. So I wanted to give you guys a quick room tour. Sage running off to the bedroom. So here is the kitchen and a dining room area. There's also a TV and a little couch. Living room area. This property is actually really cute. I'll show you guys the outside in a second here. There's like a little seating area out there. Shower, bathroom, laundry room, bathroom vanity. And then over here is the bedroom and Sage's little playpen. I think this unit is called the Limonea. Something like that, but it's very cute, just outside Siena, kind of in the country, so hopefully it'll be a little bit more quiet because it's been very loud in our Florence Airbnb. Okay, so let me show you guys the outside really quick. So there's another look at the living room. And then here is the outside area, we better bring that backpack in. Just outside our room. And then there's a courtyard with a parking area too. Okay, so the third Airbnb, which was actually the second Airbnb we stayed in because I got these a little bit out of order, was in Siena. So we stayed in Siena for 2 nights. This was probably my favorite Airbnb. It wasn't in like the old town area. It was just a little bit on the outskirts. So it was like maybe a 8-minute drive, less than that probably, into the city. We thought it was going to be more in a country setting, but really the road that it was off of was a pretty busy road, or at least like there were constantly cars like blasting by, which was a little bit annoying just like for getting sleep at night. But I thought the interiors were really well done. It had a very cute kitchen, although we did not cook in this apartment or in the Florence one either. It had a parking lot, which was very convenient for parking, unlike the Airbnb in Florence. It also had a little courtyard area where you could sit outside, although we didn't really end up doing that because it was pretty chilly during our time there. So this is the bedroom that I am in currently. Got the dresser, window, full-length mirror over there, nightstands, bed, some art on the walls, and then going this way we have another set of drawers, another shelf area. We've got the kitchen area here, dining room, a lot of different little storage spots, couch over there, decent sized kitchen. So this is going to be our spot for the next few days while exploring Como. And here is the bathroom, probably the biggest shower we've seen yet. Okay, so the fourth Airbnb that we stayed in was in Lake Como, and there were definitely a few cons with this place. So it was on the third level. We had to walk quite a bit of ways to get to it. Not like a huge con or anything like that. The size of it was actually a very nice size. The interior is really nice. It had a great, like, well-equipped kitchen. So Andrew did end up cooking us a meal in that Airbnb as well. But this Airbnb did not provide a cot for us, whereas all the other ones did. I think we had to pay extra for it in the Sienna and in the Scala Airbnbs, but this one did not have one waiting for us at all, even though we had requested it, and nobody came to get it for us because it was locked up in the loft area, and we just ended up having to deal with it and having Sage co-sleep with us basically. But that was definitely pretty annoying. And then on I think it was our first night there, the power went out. So it took a while for anyone to get back to us. And once they did, they kind of messaged us instructions. Luckily, Andrew already went down into the basement area, I think, and figured out how to get the power back on, just as I think the owner showed up and didn't really speak any English, but just to see if we were able to figure it out, and we already had, but it had been a few hours at that point. The power went out while we were trying to do our laundry, so our clothes were sopping wet, and it was starting to get very cold because it's very cold in Como at that time. So that was a little bit of a disaster. It was in a good location of Como where we were close to tons of restaurants and shops. We didn't have our car by this point because we had already left it at the airport. We flew from Sicily over to Venice and then drove to and then took a train to Como. So we didn't have a car with us at this point, so that did not end up being an issue. Okay, so I was just editing this video when I realized that I accidentally deleted my ending to the video. Sage is now up from his nap, and Andrew is working on a project for a client, so you guys might hear some background noise, and Sage might bust in on me. But I just wanted to quickly wrap it up and say, if I were to do the trip again, I would not book Airbnbs for us. So I would have rather probably just booked hotels. I think it's a lot more convenient. If something's to go wrong, like when the power went out, somebody would be there quickly, not hours later before the problem is solved. Someone would have also brought a crib to us when we needed it, playpen. It's just, the service is going to be way better than at an Airbnb where you're really not getting much service, unless the host is very responsive. But that's another thing, is that if you're doing Airbnbs in a different country, the host might not speak the same language as you. There was definitely a language barrier going on. Like when that host came to see if we had gotten the power back on, he didn't speak any English at all. So that's definitely something to take into consideration. I just don't think it's worth it, especially not for a young family like ours, unless you're staying with like a big family, like a family reunion or like a big group of friends, something like that. Maybe it's worth it. Or if you want to be able to cook a lot of meals in the kitchen, which you wouldn't have in a hotel. And then also parking wise, I think a hotel is much more convenient because that is usually arranged for you. So that is why I would not personally recommend booking Airbnbs in a different country. I, for sure, the next time we go to Europe, I'm just gonna have us stay in hotels. So that's it, you guys. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I've also been sharing a lot of other videos about our Italy trip. I just shared a house tour we did in Tuscany. I also shared our recap Andrew and I filmed together of our trip. We are going to be doing another video about like tips for traveling in Italy, maybe tips for traveling in Europe with a toddler, things like that. So definitely make sure that you're subscribed to my channel. That way you guys will be notified whenever I have a new video and whenever specifically those Italy videos go up. Also check me out on all socials at The Urban Darling, and check out my blog, theurbandarling.com, for more content as well. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.